everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Rob Hunter TV. As I was about to go to bed last night, I ran across this clip of Ebro and Rosenburg. So with the Michael movie still basically being the topic of discussion, people are still talking about Thriller. Ebro had some interesting comments about Thriller, and I wanted to share them with you, and then I wanted to talk about my thoughts about that. Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go.
I had an argument with somebody yesterday about Thriller.
Oh, about the song?
No, about the album. And I was like, what does Thriller mean? Like, what does it mean? And they were like, it's Thriller. I was like, okay, what's the album about?
It doesn't have an album.
They were like, it doesn't have to have a meaning. It's the biggest album of all time. I was like, okay, so it's the McDonald's of albums. All right, cool.
Wow, you call McDonald's album?
It's just giant, sold, mad. All right, it's great.
Nah, beat it. It's the Big Mac. Thriller's the McDLT. And the Paul McCartney joint is just a hot bucket
That's
of shit.
That's the McRib.
That's the McRib. Nobody wants it. But nah, Ebro's wild. Thriller's a great album.
My man Ebro Darden, a man who has built his entire platform in the house that was constructed by Michael Jackson. Let's take a look at it one more time.
McDonald's of albums. All right, cool.
Wow, you call McDonald's album?
It's just giant, sold, mad. All right, it's great.
Nah, beat it. It's the Big Mac. Thriller's the McDLT. And the Paul McCartney joint is just a hot bucket of shit.
That's the McRib.
That's the McRib. Nobody wants it. But now
I can't get over that clip. I cannot get over that. And Ebro, the laughter and the giddiness.
Thriller's the McDLT.
I would like for those who are watching this, just sit there for a second and allow what you just saw to sink in.
Paul McCartney joint is just a hot bucket of shit.
That's the McRib.
That's the McRib. That's the McRib. That's the McRib.
Ebro asked what Thriller is about.
It's Thriller. I was like, okay, what's the album about?
Asking what Thriller is about is like going outside and asking what the sun is about. The day happens because the sun came up. The night happens because the sun went down. The trees grow because the sun came the fuck out. In the music solar system, Thriller is the sun. So asking what's it about, kind of silly. You take the sun for granted because it was always there. When you got into music and you decided to make a career out of it, Thriller was already there. You were already reaping the benefits by the intention of Michael Jackson to create social, creative, and pop culture equality. You were already the beneficiary of it.
What does Thriller mean?
Y'all famed hip-hop heads, right? Mr. DMD himself, Ebro, hip-hop head, right? So all of this record about to change the game, all of them pale in comparison to Thriller.
What does Thriller mean?
Michael actually said he was about to change the game.
I will study and look back on the whole world of entertainment and perfect it. Take it steps further from where the greatest left off.
But why did he say he was about to change the game? Because he specifically talked about black artists not being looked at and being revered the same as white artists. White artists like Elvis being called the king. So when Michael actually sat down to construct and to create Thriller, it was with the upward mobility and the advancement of minorities around the world.
What does Thriller mean?
And it may not be in the Gil Scott-Heron package that you would have preferred it, the album that would never be able to get in the doors that Thriller could, because it wasn't designed that way. Both of them are needed, but Michael saw something that a lot of artists who share the same sensibility, he saw another way to attack it. And that's what this album was about.
What does Thriller mean?
You were born into a world where Thriller, aka the sun, always existed. So you just think this is just how the world works. You just think how you sitting there with your platform, you just think, hey, it was always like this. I was always born behind this gate. But see, somebody had to take on the umbrage and somebody had to take up the cross of building that world. And Michael Joseph Jackson set out with that intentionality and with documentation actually to prove it. Michael wrote down his intention. He wanted the biggest selling album in recorded music. This was intentional.
What does Thriller mean? Like, what does it mean?
This is what the album is about. Not the biggest black album, which he already had.
What does Thriller mean?
And Michael was acutely aware of how white artists were treated as heroes, while black artists were treated as a genre, a subculture, if you will. I mean, look at the awards that they were winning. We were a subcategory. The intention of Thriller was to shatter that. That's what the album was about.
What's the album about?
He wanted to become a heroic, inspirational black face in white homes. That's what Thriller was about. You thought that Michael was just making music, but he was launching his campaign. that right now you stand on the shoulders of. The campaign of Thriller. See, before Thriller, there was Off the Wall. And some people forget how good that album was. It was the most successful album recorded by a black artist in the history of music. It was the first album by any artist to have 4 top 10 singles. But Off the Wall hit a ceiling. You see, mainstream white folks liked the album, but they appreciated it from a distance. It wasn't the skeleton key to knocking down racial barriers, economic barriers that Thriller was or is. Mike saw the ceiling, hated the ceiling, and decided to do something about it. So Mike decided to design a friggin' Trojan horse, an album that was so good that no gate could keep him closed. An album that was so good that it would be in every white home in America. We all know the story. The MTV was not playing black artists. Everybody knows that Yetnikov made the call. But before he made the call, Michael set the intention a year before that.
I was kind of upset about the news I heard about MTV and how they weren't showing blacks. So I wanted to do something that was so powerful, so strong, that everybody would have to show it.
Only an album so good could command that kind of leverage. Well, Walter Yetnikov could make the call to threaten to take everybody else off if they didn't play Billie Jean.
What does Thriller mean? Like, what does it mean?
It meant that Yo MTV Raps could have a home on this station because of Thriller.
And I was like, what does Thriller mean?
Because Thriller came out. Because the goddamn sun came out. That's what the album was about. See, Michael opened a door that nobody could be able to close again. That's what the album was about. Without that moment, there is no Yo MTV Raps. Hip hop doesn't see that commercial infrastructure. The economic trajectory of black music shifts, or don't shift at all. It don't move at all. See, what people forget, Michael forced his crossover. He forced their hand, leveraged, weaponized, with social intention.
What's the album about?
That's what the album was about. Ebro called it McDonald's.
It's the McDonald's of albums.
I can tell you what McDonald's is. McDonald's is the Macarena. McDonald's is Baby Shark. McDonald's is Bust a Move, and I love that record. But see, that's fast food. You consume it, you enjoy it, and the next thing replaces it. Don't nobody's culture infrastructure exists because the Macarena. Thriller is like the Mona Lisa. You can't paint without talking about it. You may not like the Mona Lisa, you may think it's underrated, but you cannot be a painter and not discuss the Mona Lisa. That's Thriller.
What does Thriller mean?
Thriller is the pyramids, because the pyramids, they aren't just monuments. They are statements of civilization to say that we exist, that we're capable, that we're not only capable, but we're the best at this, and we're not going to be erased.
And I was like, what does Thriller mean? Like, what does it mean?
And the pyramids are a constant reminder that black hands were here first, and we're still here now, and our greatness is incomparable.
What does Thriller mean? Like, what does it mean?
Every black entertainer after Thriller who got a real endorsement, who got the mainstream radio, who got the MTV, who got treated as a global icon, not a genre. They're drawing compound interest off of what Michael Jackson deposited, off of his intention.
I will study and look back on the whole world of entertainment and perfect it. Take it steps further from where the greatest left off.
Gil Scott-Heron said the revolution won't be televised, but just maybe it did get televised. What if the packaging was so precise, so undeniable, so massive that the actual revolution was inside of it? The Trojan horse. And then what if you make them pay for the rights to broadcast the defeat? That's Thriller, homeboy. That's specifically what the album Thriller was about. Mike didn't have to say on record he was going to break down racial barriers. He just wrote it down, made a plan, and he executed. He didn't have to march. He made Thriller, and he used Thriller to go to war with MTV, to go to war with radio stations, to go to war with venues around the world that had never had a black artist play there before.
And I was like, what does Thriller mean?
Ebro, see, you eating the meal, but you disrespecting the kitchen, playboy. Every album before and every album after is chasing Thriller. And I know it's been in hip-hop's world, they need the overt message. I'll frame this in a way that you can understand it. Eminem dissed Michael Jackson. Michael didn't make his own diss record. He simply bought his catalog. That is how Michael moves. He sits back, he plans, and he executes. So when the Grammys didn't give Off the Wall the love that it probably deserved, he created something bigger, something better. And he made sure that it had the platform that it deserved all around the world via MTV.
What's the album about?
What are those 9 songs about? That's what Thriller is about. So what does Thriller mean? What's the album about? It's about social creative equality. It's about kicking a hole in the system so big, they'll just assume that the money and the endorsements and the touring, they'll just assume it was always like this. Never realizing that Thriller, the whole time, an album that they never heard before, was making it all possible.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.